Yo guys, what's up? How's it going? What's going on? Let me know. What can the world offer us that God can't? That's the question that I want to ask today. When I was a teenager, I, for a few years, decided that I wanted to see if there was anything that the world could offer me that God couldn't. And so, I tried to find joy and happiness and peace in kind of friendships and relationships. I wanted to see if those things could give me that. And actually, what I've learned is that they couldn't give me that. And here's the thing that I learned. The devil likes to make things look really attractive. Now, I believe in the devil. I believe he's real. I don't want to spend too much time talking about him because, to be honest, I don't think he deserves our breath. He has this cunning way of making things in the world seem really attractive to people and kind of like luring them in. And sort of the way that I can like kind of imagine it or describe it is of, like magpies. I don't know if this is like a myth or whether it's real, but how like magpies are drawn to shiny things. And that's kind of how I imagine it, is that there's this shiny thing that Satan's like dangling in front of us, and it kind of like lures us in. The magpie might be lured in and it's just like a 5p on the floor, which, let's be honest, really isn't worth that much. And it's kind of like the same thing in that kind of we're lured into this thing that looks really attractive, this thing that looks really appealing, but actually like it isn't worth anything. And I think so often like there is so many different things in the world that the devil likes to do that with, and they're not all necessarily bad. So for example, like wanting to succeed in work so that you can pay for a house for your family, like that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like wanting to be in this relationship with somebody, like that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like all these things that aren't necessarily bad things, but they are meaningless when we're doing them without God. Honestly, there is nothing that this world can offer you that God can't. I heard this saw this really good analogy by Francis Chan, who's an American Christian speaker, and basically he used a rope. Now obviously this isn't a rope, it's a bit of string, but I just did not have any rope on me. I want you to imagine now that this black bit on the string represents your life. And so this black bit on the string represents your life, and then the rest of the string represents eternity. And basically it's this whole idea of how it's got a big old knot in it, but basically like you can see how much string is there, and basically it's this whole idea of how our lives in comparison to eternity, whilst they may seem like 80 years on this life, 90 years in this world might seem like a lot, in reality to eternity it really isn't that much. Like when you look at how much kind of eternity there is, and eternity is eternal, it doesn't end. Obviously this piece of string ends, but kind of that just sort of puts it into perspective, and how actually like there's this saying, YOLO, you only live once, so go crazy, make the most of it. And absolutely like make the most of your life, like go on adventures and all of that stuff, but actually we only live this life once. But then after this life is up, after our time on this world has come to an end, like what's then? And I believe that you're going to go to either one of two places. So you're either going to go to hell, where there is going to be pain and suffering, or you're going to go to be with Jesus for eternity, where there will be no more pain, no more suffering, no more tears, no more separation, no more evil. I can tell you which one I want to be and where I want to be. And I can also tell you that God doesn't want anybody to go to hell. But actually the reason why people go there is because they choose the world over God. They don't choose God. They don't want to know God. They don't want to believe in God. And so, how can you have something that you don't believe in? How can you have something that you've chosen to walk away from? If right now you're thinking, well, I've walked away from God, like that doesn't have to be the end of your story. That doesn't have to be where you end up after this life. All you have to do is turn back to God and say, God, I'm sorry that I walked away from you, but I want to know you. I want to be in this relationship with you. Like it really is as simple as that. And there's this verse in the Bible, in Psalms, it says, better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of the wicked. Guys, like better is one day in the presence of Jesus. Like one day in the presence of God, one day with God is better than 1,000 days elsewhere. Like it's better than 1,000 days spending traveling around the world. Like it is better than anything else. Like one day with God is better than 1,000 days elsewhere. And that is just the reality of it. Like there's nothing that this world can offer me that my relationship with God can't. Because my relationship with God offers me love, it offers me peace and hope. Like above all those things, it offers me hope. Like this world now is like, it's a crappy place to be. Like, there's so much evil, so much pain, so much suffering in the world. And actually my relationship with God gives me hope that one day we're going to be free from that, and one day we're going to be in a place where there is no more pain, no more suffering, and no more evil. And that hope is offered to you as well. Like, God wants you to grab hold of that hope too. When we're on this mission to find something, I think everybody is looking for something. That's why people want to get promotions in their work. That's why people want to travel the world. That's why people take gap years. That's why people go to university. Like, people are looking for something. Like, that's why people are going in and out of relationships, because they're looking for something. They're looking for that fulfillment. And I don't know if you can relate to that. Like, you just feel like there's this ache or this like gap, this hole in your heart that you just feel like it needs to be filled, and you're trying to fill it with all of these things. You're trying to fill it with a job, with a relationship, with a house, with alcohol maybe. Like, you're trying to fill it with so many different things, but actually it's never going to get filled until you have this relationship with God, because I promise you that He is the only one that can fill that gap. He is the only one that can fill that hole in your heart, and He loves you and He wants you to come home to Him. And so yeah, like, when you're living this YOLO life, remember, like, you only live this life once, but actually what's going to happen afterwards? And just think about that. I hope that that's been an encouragement to you. And also, I'm going to leave the actual Francis Chan analogy of this down below, because it is so much better than what I just did, but hopefully it kind of helped. Now that's like mega tangled, I'm never going to use that again. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button down below. I am so passionate about sharing my faith and letting other people know like how loved they are, how valued they are. So if you're somebody and you just need that encouragement, like that weekly dose of encouragement, then, you know, hit subscribe. Let other people know about this as well. If you've got like a youth group, or if you've got some friends who you think would benefit from this channel, then please do let them know as well. Give this video a thumbs up. Have a really good week, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye guys! Yeah! Oh, yeah!